So the other day, the Clicks communicator was announced, and I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but there was quite a bit of interest about this on the internet. The video that I quickly threw together, just basically being excited about it, kind of blew up a little bit, and yeah, the response to this thing has been, I would guess, probably bigger than what Clicks technology actually expected. But in the comments of that video and just broadly on social media, I've seen a lot of people asking what I think is a very pertinent question. Why wait for the Clicks communicator when you could just buy the Unihertz Titan 2, which is available right now? You have the full QWERTY keyboard, you have a square screen. Ostensibly, you could just do the same things you're going to do on your Clicks communicator over here on the Titan 2. Now, I kind of laid this out in an article I posted talking about, who is the Clicks communicator for, and I told you guys in that article what my personal use case for this, what I hope that it could be. And basically, this is the idea. I am switching my SIM from folding phone to folding phone all the time, and it's a little bit annoying. So in theory, what I would like to do is put my SIM in a central sort of home-based device, and then I wouldn't have to move my SIM around. My text messages would be there. My phone calls would be there. If I'm away from Wi-Fi, which is honestly fairly uncommon at this point these days, I can just tether it to that phone. No big deal. And I don't have to switch SIMs. If I want to text from my folding phone, I can use messages for web or potentially try Beeper. I've had a couple of people tell me that that would also be a good option. Haven't used Beeper in a long time. I digress. That is my use case. I want a communication device that is not going to be great for doom scrolling because it has a square screen. So I'm not going to get caught up doom scrolling and doing dumb things on that phone. I'm just going to communicate text, phone calls, etc. Maybe get some work done responding to comments on that device. And then if I want to play, I've got my fold in maybe another pocket. Because I have to admit, the Titan 2 does seemingly fit the same bill that the Clicks communicator fits, I decided to put down my own money and purchase the Unihertz Titan 2. It was just delivered. It is still inside its packaging. So in this video, starting here in just a moment, we're going to unbox this thing and we're going to get some first impressions. Will this video make back $440? Will I regret my decision? Find out next time. All right, here is the box for the Unihertz Titan 2. Not a whole lot going on here on the back. 4.5-inch display, so it's a little bit bigger than the one that is on the communicator. It is a 5,050 milliamp hour battery. That is 1,050 bigger than what is on the Clicks communicator. 33-watt wired charging is honestly not too bad. Designed by Unihertz. And I don't know what's in this first box, but it's relatively thick. I think there's actually like a case in here. I think that they do send this with maybe like a TPU case. Indeed, that is what that is. Not particularly premium looking, but hey, it's a case and it's free. You can't really complain about that. There is the device itself, and boy, it is interesting. One thing I can immediately tell you is that it is a bit bigger than I expected it to be. That is indeed what she said. You may have noticed that there's a screen on the back of this thing, so rather than having like an LED notification light that tells you what is incoming, there's a screen on the back that will just kind of show you your notifications. And I wonder if a light will be less likely to pull me in and get me using the phone when maybe I shouldn't be. If I see what the notification is, will I be more likely to pick up the phone? I don't know. Here is the front of the device, and that keyboard is looking quite good. Can you hear the keys? Fairly clicky. They feel pretty good. We have a power button, volume rocker, and then we have probably 2 shortcut keys. Unihertz is really big on these like shortcut keys. They do this all the time. Quite a hefty forehead up here at the top, but they've put their selfie camera up there. It looks like there is a screen protector already installed, which is also really good. Speaker, which we're gonna have to test. You have your USB-C, SIM tray, and then up top there is an IR emitter, so you can use this as like a universal remote. We do have on the back 2 different cameras and an LED flash. I'm not actually sure what the camera specs are. Their website just says 50 megapixel main and then an 8 megapixel telephoto, 32 megapixel front camera. Obviously, processing software that matters a lot. We do have 12 gigs of RAM and a Dimensity 7300 as the processor. Both of those are absolutely fine. Now, as far as I'm aware, this thing is running Android 15, and I doubt that that will ever change. One of the biggest complaints I've always had about Unihertz is that they have a tendency to just sort of release phones and then forget that they released phones. They just don't really update their devices. And yes, we are absolutely putting the SIM card in this device. It looks like, is this dual SIM? It looks like it probably is dual SIM, but we only have the one. So we're going to put that one in there and stick it in backwards and then stick it in the right way. One thing that I'm immediately noticing is that this thing, it's fairly large. And I mean, it's called the Titan 2. It's not called the diminutive 2. So I don't think that should be super surprising. But something that I did like about the Clix communicator is that it's relatively small. And if I'm thinking about using this as a second device, or I guess a first device, and maybe something like this is the second device, that's a lot of pocket space. As I'm going for a USB cable to transfer some data, I am reminded that this does not have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It does come with this, but the communicator just has it built in. We do have a charging brick actually included, and this is 9 volts at 3 amps, 27 watts or 15 watts, or actually 33 watt max. I almost missed that. So this is a charging brick that can, in theory, charge this device at its full speed. So good job, Unihertz. Just to give you guys maybe a little bit of like a size comparison, this is the old BlackBerry Key 1, which I actually really liked a lot, probably a lot more than most people. And then this is the Unihertz Titan Slim. It's a very similar device. Fingerprint scanner was there on this one. It's just a slimmer, taller aspect ratio. And when I was thinking about kind of running this experiment, what I was noticing, or what I was kind of considering as I looked at these older keyboard devices, I just kept thinking, what's to stop me from doing the same sorts of things on these phones? What's to stop me from scrolling through TikTok on these phones? Because the aspect ratio is, I think, too normal. This being so square, I think, might be a deterrent for me for doing those sorts of things. Of course, I could just grab my folding phone and do that instead, or use that instead. But I think that extra step of having to grab that phone might also act as a deterrent, or at least I hope so. So here we are on our home screen, and it looks like we are installing applications, 23 out of 84. So we're just going to let that continue. Swiping up does get you to an app drawer. Swiping left does get you some news, and then right will just be an additional page, so nothing too crazy there. Let's jump into the Google Play Store really quickly, because I kind of want to check one thing. Are there gesture navigations here? Can I swipe up to go home? I can, or I can hit that home button there, which is actually, I thought that was a home button, but it's actually a multitasking button. That is interesting. So swipe up to go home, but then if you want to multitask or go back, you can click on that button. I guess that actually kind of does make sense, because it's going to be harder, I guess, theoretically, to swipe up to go, or to swipe over here to go back, which I think you, yes, probably can still do. So you have the gestures as well, so you can kind of decide how you want to go about controlling this thing. This is interesting. They actually are doing the split notification shade thing. That is kind of surprising to me. A lot of icons. We're going to have to do something about that. That is icon overload. We have a section here for our shortcut keys, where you can assign to these things different things. So you can see here, you can do like a short press to do any of these things, or to launch specific apps. There's quite a bit of customization that we can do there. So in the camera app, it looks like we have a standard and then a 3.4x zoom, which is funny. It actually takes it a second to switch. I covered up this lens and then I switched, and I was like, there's a brief second there where I was like, oh, it's just digitally cropping. And no, it actually is an optical zoom. We have to test that. First couple of shots, certainly not awe-inspiring, I guess, about what I would expect on a device like this. There's the zoom performance you can see just from sort of across the room. All right, so I took some time to kind of get this device set up, get my icons together. This is probably not the final form of my home screen, but it's going to do just fine for now. A couple of things that I want to quickly point out to you. Okay, one thing I just now noticed, I have set my theming. You can see the color there. The quick icons are not evidently changing colors, so that's a little bit weird. If we go into gestures, there are some things that you're going to want to do, like keyboard gestures. You can actually turn on Scroll Assistant, which allows you to scroll with your keyboard. or cursor assistant, which allows you to tap the keyboard and then slide around. Don't actually press a key, but tap and slide around and move your cursor around. We're going to try both of those things out. You also need to turn on Digital Assistant for when you press and hold the power button. By default, it's just going to trigger your power button. Maybe you want it that way, but I did want Google Assistant, or rather Google Gemini, so you do have to go manually turn that on. But the last thing I want to show you on this thing right now is how sort of not great it's going to be for multimedia. All right, so here is YouTube, and if I just pick a random video, shout out to, that's not very good, shout out to the MCA Titans podcast, it's just not going to be great at this sort of thing, right? Like, there's your full screen. I don't actually want to be rotated, so I guess we're going to stay this way. There's your full screen YouTube. Can you do it? Yes. Are you going to want to do that? No, probably not. Let's go a step further. Here's TikTok. Again, can you do it? Yes. Is this what I would call a good experience? Am I going to want to do this? No, probably not. I do need to show you, or I guess let you hear the speakers for just a moment as well. Speaker, I should say, singular, because there is just the one. Although I will say, it sounds better than I thought it would. So, I mean, not amazing, not amazing. It's not super loud. It doesn't sound as distorted and like tinny as I kind of expected it to, but it's just a single speaker, and obviously that's going to be, again, sort of not great at multimedia. That's cool. You can kind of play pause from the back of the device if it's sitting down like that. Maybe you've paired your earbuds to it or something like that. But again, I just keep kind of wanting to hammer this home. It's not going to be great for multimedia, and I think that's a good thing. So I was able to set up messages for web just fine on my Honor Magic V5. If you look at my Google Messages icon, there's the little Vivaldi thing in the corner, because that is a progressive web app. Whenever I open this up, I will see my text messages, but I'm seeing it in a web app, and I'm seeing the messages as they are on my Unihertz Titan 2. When I send a text message, it's just sending it from the Titan 2. When I receive one, I'm going to see it on both. In theory, this should work pretty well. From here, I have to just get to testing this device. Am I going to find the screen on the back of it useful? Am I going to enjoy typing on the keyboard? There's a learning curve there. Is the size going to bother me? Because it's a pretty beefy device. It's not like a lightweight, tiny thing that goes in your pocket you can quickly send an email from. This is a bit beefier than I was maybe anticipating it to be. I got to get it charged up and really just test it and go from there. So guys, hit that subscribe button before you go so that you don't miss out on that updated content. Lots more to cover on this device. I'll see you in the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.